I've had my same nesting boxes for about 3 years now, and although they're pretty great, they're not perfect. Let me show you. These are the nesting boxes I've been using, and for what they are, they've been great for the price that I paid for them. I think I paid about $10 each for these, if that. These are just totes that I got from Walmart, but they do have a couple of issues, just like any nesting box that is similar to this. I've been extremely busy the last couple of days, so busy that I haven't been able to come out here and collect eggs. It's been about 2 days since I've come out here to collect eggs, and just so happens all my birds decided that it was time to start laying again. And normally that's great, but right now their run is kind of muddy. That's my fault. I need to get some straw in there. So what's happening is the chickens are coming in here and they're laying their eggs, and I don't know if the camera's gonna pick this up very well. All these eggs are just completely covered in chicken poop and mud, and they're not very appetizing. The other issue I've had with these nesting boxes is when I send the kids out here to collect eggs, sometimes there's a chicken in there on the eggs, and if you have chickens, you know what happens when you try to get eggs up underneath the chicken. If you don't have confidence, if you don't go in there like you're the boss, you're gonna get pecked. And when you're trying to teach your children when you're trying to teach them to love them, it makes it kind of hard when that thing is attacking them. My son is normally the one that comes out here and collects the egg. He's had a couple times this last year that he's come out and he's gotten pecked pretty good.
She bit me.
Hey.
I just got me scared.
Come here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. And that's something that can be avoided if you have the right nesting box. And that's where this bad chicken comes in. This is a nesting box from Hengear, and this is something that I've seen around social media and kind of all over online for quite a while now, the last couple of years. And this is honestly something that I've considered buying ever since my kids started getting pecked by my chickens. So when Bryce from Hengear emailed me, asking me if I wanted to try it out, I had to say yes. Now Hengear did send me this in exchange for an honest review, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do here today. These nesting boxes, they were created and designed on a family farm, and they are raising pastured hens. So they needed a way to speed up their process in a way of having less dirty eggs, less cracked eggs, different things like that. They just needed to make their life a little bit easier. Now, if you're anything like me, I've got a full-time job, 5 kids. If there's something that can make my life easier, I'm gonna look at it. Now, this has a nice pad that goes on the inside, and the pad is made and designed to where it doesn't get the eggs dirty. So if you know anything about chickens, or if you don't, I'm gonna tell you, but when they first lay an egg, they have something called a bloom on the outside of the egg, and that bloom is moist. That bloom is moist. And what happens oftentimes, especially with rollout designs, is that egg starts to roll down into the little cubby area, and whatever it's rolling over, it's gonna collect dirt, it's gonna collect dust, it's gonna collect different things on that bloom. What you want is that egg to roll right over the top of something that isn't gonna be dirty and not collect anything on the bloom, because then the things are gonna dry on that bloom if it does collect it. And then you have to go in and wash your eggs, and if you wash your eggs, you're washing off that bloom, and that bloom helps your eggs be shelf stable for quite a bit longer. Now, the way this is designed is the little pad has these little spiky things on it, and so the dust is gonna fall down into those spikes and not be where the eggs are rolling, so it's pretty cool. I have a lot to say about this nesting box so far. Most of it is gonna be great, but I am gonna have a couple constructive criticisms for Hengear, which I feel like is extremely healthy on YouTube, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. Let's start off with the assembly. When we assembled this, it was a nice 20 degrees and completely snowy outside, so we took this project to the living room, started a nice fire, and had some time with the kids. Don't ask me why, because I have no idea, but for some reason, I thought that the metal that this is made out of was gonna be much thinner. I didn't expect it to be as heavy duty as it is, so that was right out of the box, that was like the first real thing that jumped out at me. The assembly instructions are really good. It comes with some pictures, some written instructions, but the way my brain works, I don't do very well with like looking at a manual and trying to put something together. I end up having a meltdown, and my wife has to put things together for me when it comes to that. So I did what a lot of people do, and I jumped on YouTube and I typed in Hengear nesting box assembly. And the very first video that popped up was a video from Hengear, actually, and it was probably the best assembly video I've seen for anything I've had to assemble. It was extremely detailed. It took a lot of the pictures out of the manual, it seems, and animated them. So it shows the screws going in, it shows the orientation of everything, and it has text coming up on the screen, and it really just puts into motion everything that the manual is telling you. So if you do get one of these nesting boxes and you need some help with the assembly, go down in the description of this video. You're gonna see a link to the video that Hengear has that shows you exactly how to build this. It's a really, really good video. It took me roughly 2 hours to build this, but I feel like I need to specify that I had 5 of my children build this. So if it's easy enough for 5 kids to put together, then you can imagine that it's easy enough for an adult to put together. One thing that really helped the kids out and me out is the nuts. When you're putting these together, a lot of what you're putting together, you've got a bolt that goes in and then a nut on the other side. And the nut on the bottom end of it is textured. So if you get it hand tight, you can really just get a screwdriver or a drill and tighten it all up. It definitely helped my kids out a lot, so they didn't have to hold that wrench on the backside. I probably could have built this entire thing in 30 to 45 minutes. And now that I've done it before, I could probably build it in 20 or 30 minutes. But I didn't learn how to use tools until my late 20s, early 30s, and that's not something I want for my kids, so I figured it was worth taking the extra time and teaching them how to build it. I'm not gonna go through and show you every step of how to put this thing together, because there is no possible way that I'm gonna make a video that is as detailed, as good, or as helpful as the video that Hengear made. Nothing fancy, it's just extremely helpful. Now, obviously my box is built, but it's not in the coop yet, so let's go put it in, see how the girls like it. I live by an Air Force base, and every time I try to film, the F-35s take off. It never fails. Oh, here's some memories. I don't know if you ever saw my DIY chicken door, the chicken door video. It was on like a little pulley system. It was cool. Let's get this all out of the way. It is a mess. That's gonna be another thing that I'm really excited about, is with my old nesting boxes, I had to put cinder blocks on them, because if not, the chickens would jump around and parkour all over the chicken coop, and the nesting boxes would just be everywhere, so that was frustrating. Hear that? It's the sound of freedom! America! There's like 8 of them flying by my house right now. It's really cool, except when I'm trying to film. She's just filthy. You need a bath. Do we need to give you a bath? Yeah, you need a bath? Where was I? Nesting box. That was easy enough. All right, girls. Look, you're gonna love this thing, I swear. Oh, that's not too bad. That fits really nice on those cinder blocks, actually. I had to hurry up and get my camera on, because the second I got this thing in here, just immediately coming to check it out. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go inside. I'm gonna let the ladies hang out with their new nesting box overnight. I'm gonna come back out tomorrow and see how they like it. So when we come back, I'll talk about all the little bells and whistles of this, how this thing works, how you get, this thing that moves and the thing that opens and how everything rolls, and I'll show you everything in the morning. But I wanna leave my ladies here alone because they're really upset at me right now. I just took away their nesting boxes that they've had for years. If you're interested in either getting one of these nesting boxes or just learning more about them in general, there's gonna be a link down in the description below. This is gonna be an affiliate link, so if you do end up making a purchase, I get a small commission at no extra cost to you, and it really does help us out. I appreciate it.
Food for everyone.
I think that was good. That was good.
I'm like, food for everyone.
Okay. We put the nesting box in yesterday, okay? We haven't been in here since. We don't know if they laid eggs in here. So give me just a second. Let me get this all the way open.
Dad,
okay.
They actually laid eggs.
That's not where we wanted them to lay eggs.
Can we get that one?
Yeah, so you go ahead and go grab that one. That's not where we want them to lay eggs. We wanted them to lay eggs in this nesting box. I'll show you how it works here in a minute. What we do to check for their eggs is we lift this bar up. Do you want to help me? Lift this bar up. And then you just open this right here. So open that and let's see if there's any eggs in there. Okay, so we got one. We got one egg. So is it just the one egg that was over there and the one egg in there? Do you remember that one time that you put your hand in the nesting box to move the chicken? Do you remember what happened?
Yeah.
What happened?
I got bit.
Did you cry? Are you okay if I show everybody on YouTube the video of you getting bit and crying?
Yeah.
Okay, good, because I did it anyways. All right, so the nesting box has been in the coop for roughly 24 hours now. The chickens laid 2 eggs, one of which was in the corner of the coop, so definitely nowhere near the nesting box, but the other one was in here in the nesting box. So that tells me that the chickens, at least one of the chickens, somewhat knows where she should be laying an egg, and hopefully she will show the other chickens how to do it as well. Hayden, will you explain how this nesting box works?
First they walk right here, then they get in, then they lay an egg, then it slowly rolls. Then in the morning you could open this open this too, then there will be an egg.
What this is gonna do is it's gonna keep your eggs cleaner because of this pad here. Let me show you how this pad looks because it's pretty nice. So this is the padding that they're on, and it's got these little spiky things on it that are, I mean, they're pretty soft. It's not gonna hurt your chickens or anything. It's gonna be nice and comfortable for them. But the dust and the dirt is gonna fall down in between these and settle down low. So when the eggs roll down, it's not gonna collect any of that dirt on the wet bloom egg. There's a couple things I wanna talk about here with this nesting box. The first thing is I really like this design of the little bar that they jump up onto, because if you really have some hens that just wanna sleep inside of your nesting box, you can close it. Hold on, buddy. So your thing's gonna be closed. You can put this up so the chickens can't get into the nesting box at night. The next thing I love is obviously you're gonna have less cracked eggs. Chickens aren't gonna be pecking at their eggs and eating them. You're not gonna have dirty eggs, and those are all extremely important things, especially here, because we've kind of dealt with all of those different issues before.
Yeah.
Now, another really cool thing about these nesting boxes is you don't have to configure it this way. There's two configurations. You can do it this way, like I have, where you put the back up against the inside of your coop, and then you have the rollout box area where the eggs end up. You have that sitting inside of your coop to where you can just walk up, open it up, and grab your eggs. The other configuration is where you mount this on the inside of your coop, and you cut a hole on your coop, and you mount this on the inside, and just this little rollaway nesting box is on the outside. So you can collect your eggs from the outside of your chicken coop. We won't ever do the configuration where we cut the hole in the coop, because at some point we might switch coops. We might end up using this coop as an actual garden shed at some point, maybe, we'll see. So we're gonna keep this configuration. When we're talking about setting it up on the outside of your coop where you have that access on the outside, that's where I have a small bit of constructive criticism for Hengear. In someone else's video, I had seen that they mentioned where on the back side of this, let me go ahead and get this turned around and show you. All right, so when you have it set up hanging on your coop to where you have access on the outside, this is also showing on the outside. This gives you access to get into where your chickens are, and what you can also do is you can reach in and move that little roost bar, that little bar that gets them into it. You can move that up and down. What I saw somebody else say in the past was they were worried about the predator proofing with this, because in the past it came with a little magnet, and that magnet held this closed right here. A magnet isn't gonna stop a predator, but Hengear listened to that and they fixed it. Sitting inside right now, we have these little clasp things, these little locks that will hold this closed, and that's for the outside configuration. So they fixed that issue. But I wish we could still have a magnet. So this is a very small, tiny little thing. I'm nitpicking, okay? I mean, I can go pick one up for $1 on Amazon, and it's not gonna be that big of a deal whatsoever. But I wish I did have that little piece, that little magnet still. I wish they would just send that, so that way I could keep this closed with the magnet. The only other thing I have is the pad kind of catches on this right here. So when we open and close the back right here, it catches a little bit. So what I'm gonna have to do is kind of grab the little pad right here, pull it forward. Now I can close that. You see that close all the way? I'm not gonna be getting into the back of this very often. This is gonna be up against the inside of my coop. It's not a big deal. But for somebody that does wanna get in there often, this right here gets a little bit stuck on the nesting pad, and then you have to go in on the other side and kind of maneuver it to get it back. I think that this is going to be an issue that after doing this for a week or two, it's going to go away, because the nesting pad is going to actually kind of fold down a little bit just right there where it opens. So I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue.
The chickens we still have get eaten by raccoons.
Hey buddy, the coop we had when the chickens got eaten by raccoons, that was not nearly as safe as the coop we have now. My kids are a little bit traumatized about, we had some raccoon attacks, like a string of them, and it was when we first moved here, because this house came with chickens. We were new to chickens, and we struggled with raccoons. They pretty much took out our whole flock, and it was kind of rough on them. Neither of these two things are anything that would stop me from buying this. I still feel like this is worth the money. It's a quality product, and it's something that I'm really excited for our chickens to be using. What do you got to say?
So at night, you have to make sure this thing is up here, and make sure that this thing, if it's opened, any type of animal could get in there and steal their eggs like that, stuff. So that's why you have to make sure this is closed at night.
Guess what? They sold us locks to put on this, so that way it can stay locked and stay shut.
Ooh.
Yeah, pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
So this is going to be inside of our coop, right? And predators can't get inside of our coop, right?
Yeah, but what if we accidentally leave it unlocked an accident?
Oh, an accident? Okay.
Yeah, and it's like wide open.
Yep.
type of animal could get in there.
Okay. Yeah, I gotcha. Come over here so they can see you.
You have to make sure the chicken coop door is locked at all times at night, because if it's unlocked and wide open at night, a predator could sneak in, steal their chickens and the chicken eggs. So you want to make sure that the chicken door is completely locked and closed at night, because raccoons sneak around at night.
Yeah, they do.
I did the best I can.
Dude, you did such a good job, man. Good job.
Because it's good to make sure what I said.
Yeah, it's very good to make sure what you said. For now, this is just gonna be sitting inside of our coop until this weekend. This weekend, I'm going to mount it up on the wall of the chicken coop. And I'm also gonna be adding one more thing to this nesting box this weekend when I put it up on the wall. And it's something that kind of sets this nesting box apart from other nesting boxes. And I didn't want the nesting box to steal all the attention from this today, because this is more of an addition to this nesting box, but it almost turns this nesting box into a smart nesting box, which is pretty cool. So keep an eye out for that video next week.